More than sports now. More than crunch time. We rush like fourth down.
I be taking win. We don't mess with laws. I be taking win. We don't mess with laws. I be taking win. We don't mess with laws. I be taking win. We don't mess with laws. We been on that paper chasing all that fashion. We been on that paper chasing what you ration.
Been in the grind now. We ready for prime time. Ready for shine now. We ready to get smile. On the rise, all eyes up on us now. Blast off spaceships till the touchdown.
Energy level on high. Put that trouble on fire. Double it down, I'ma spit it around. Click, clack, boom, we the best in town. Energy level on high. Put that trouble on fire. Double it down, I'ma spit it around. Click, clack, boom, we the best in town. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though.
We're getting ready to blow, people. And we're blowing right now. You're checking out the ProQuo Show. I got some comments on the bottom of my screen about my other show that I do with my man Bernard Hankins. Check us out on Sundays, usually 6:30. We're going to have to see how that plays out for this Sunday. But you know what? I'll let you know right now. Let me check the schedule and tell you. It looks like this. It looks like Sunday. This Sunday, man, it's probably gonna be 6:30. So check us out 6:30 on Sunday. If you're around, same bad time, same bad channel, and we'll be here. And what up, party people? Everybody else out there. My name is Pro. This is me right there. Raptivist, educated math and science guy who like to think about stuff, who does not like to type grammatically correct, it appears. But that's all good. Yo, I'm really interested in talking about the NBA right about now. There's some hip hop stuff I want to get to too, and to me, NBA is very hip hop anyway. So, yo, letting the hair grow. What do y'all think, man? I'm trying to get the little part going. Try to get my Gordon Hayward back. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know if it's quite Gordon Hayward. I don't have the blonde look or whatever, but I don't think Gordon has the snazzy widow's peak either. But I like to let people know I'm not bald. Just choose to be. People out here where I am, I'm in the DMV. I'm always in DC, Arlington, and right there all the time. People are like, yo, you in the military? And I'm like, nah, I just don't like having a lot of hair. Well, it's a lot easier to deal with personally. So, been doing that like 20 years or so, and it works. But people are like, you know what? Let the hair grow. Bust your white boy. That's that's what I say. I don't know if they say that, but that's what I say. Yeah. So we're doing a lot at Freedom Corner. Shout out to my man LD. Shout out to my man Fly. Life has been very busy for all of us, so I'm trying to hold it down. Shout out to my man Jay Cruz, of course, making new music, new moves, people trying to get healthy. We got more music coming out. Yo, That's Pro is out there right now. Shout out to my man DJ Edition, who's been working that record hard for us, getting a lot of great feedback and spins. Artists, if your music isn't BDS coded, your spins don't count. So make sure you research BDS and make sure you get your tracks out there. Another big tip for artists out there: make sure your stuff is Shazamable. When your stuff is Shazam, that actually goes a long way for you as an artist. It's similar to like almost like a modern or poor man's version of BDS. Lets people know who's actively checking out your track when they hear that on the radio. So it's a good indicator for people who are into that kind of stuff. Shout out to the Celtics. That's really where I wanted to go. I actually had a dream. How lame is this? I had a dream and Marcus Smart was in it, and I was on the team. And I was like, yo, Marcus, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate everything you did, man. You helping us out. Fly's here too. He's going to be laughing at me. But I was like, yo, Marcus, I just want to let you know, man, you coming back has helped us all. And I'm talking like us, like I'm actually playing on the team. And that's when you know you've been shooting too many free throws and making videos about it on Instagram and thinking that substitutes somehow for being in the NBA. So that's what I want to say to that. I see my man Fly laughing backstage, but yeah. So I'm gonna bring Fly up in one sec. So definitely want to talk some NBA. Golden State Warriors are playing pretty much as we speak. I want to know who people think are going to win that, and basically who the Celtics are going to be playing. So with that, let me bring in my man Fly Diggy. What's up, homie?
Yo,
You looking very spring, summer, fresh.
it's
You
that
know?
time of year, bro. I figured I'd bring it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me change this thing that's in my head because my head is basically eclipsing this. That's better. See how I did that? It was just like magic. It's like
Man,
boom.
voila.
Voila. What's up, man? Haven't been
Man,
graced with your presence in a few weeks, so it's good to
bro,
see you.
bro, it's I'm honored as always to be here on the ProQuo Show. It's been rough, bro. That's an
I,
understatement, but
bro, I can only imagine on your end. I know on my end too, but the Celts are keeping me afloat right now, as you might imagine.
I know
Um,
you loving it. I know you loving it. I know you loving
nah, not
it.
me, man. Not me. I got
I
nothing
know you.
going on here.
I know you love it, bro. And your boy Jason Tatum is proving all the Larry Bird fans wrong from
That's what I'm saying, right?
all
That's
your
what I'm saying.
speculation about him being the most talented Boston Celtic ever, and he's just making you look real good right now.
Keep telling me, man. Keep telling me. That's what I'm saying.
The boy's
That's what
been
I'm saying.
bringing it, man, undeniable.
Absolutely. And really the team has been bringing it. Really, the team is exceptional lockdown defense. When they are on, they're the best team in the NBA, hands down.
Yes,
Um,
that
but
alone, that's the separator for me.
yeah,
So I know one of the issues or struggles that of course, I'm not even a Boston Celtics fan, but I know
right.
we talked about it.
You a Boston Celtic fan by connection.
Right, and so I know we talked about it, with great frequency over the last 6 months since the season started. And I know one of the things that we discussed was, Marcus Smart at the starting point guard position and how it was going to work. And it wasn't working at first, but that move was probably the thing that's creating the separation, man, because now they can switch every pick and roll pretty much. The guy can
Absolutely.
guard at least 3 positions. And that's what's making them dominant on defense like that. And so it's awesome.
I 100% agree. I mean, obviously, you saying what I don't need to say. I mean, like I said, I honestly had a dream about Marcus Smart, and I think I was crying in the dream. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. I was getting misty telling him, and I was like, Marcus, I just got to tell. I want people to appreciate you and what you've done for us. And I was literally convinced I was on the team. You know how things blur. Like just because you play a little basketball and then you're thinking about the Celtics, now you're on the Celtics. It's like things like blur.
Absolutely.
I am always, truth be told, right, in all of my dreams, I remember a massive amount of my dreams, which I know is not common. My son and I talk about it all the time. He's trying to find ways to remember his dreams. And little by little, he's been remembering some of his dreams. And I'm always, and this is kind of true of my life, I'm always on the cusp of supposed to be there, but I'm kind of not. It's like no, this for me has mirrored my life. Like it's like
Story of your
in
life.
certain days, right? I'm supposed to be there. Other days, I'm not. Let me give you a quick example, and this is how the thing goes, right? So, I'm an older cat, right? In the '90s, I did the battle for world supremacy, biggest
Right.
battle in the world, right? P Diddy's judging, whatever. I'm in the battle, right? The next year, I'm just going to be a spectator, and I don't know how that works. I'm like, yo, I'm in the battle, right? It's probably free tickets, right? Like, you don't know how these things work, right?
Right.
And they're like, no, but you can be a volunteer, and we'll let you come free. You can volunteer for like conferences, right?
Okay.
So
Gotcha,
Fee and I are both volunteering to go to the conference, right? So that we can get in free. We got backstage passes, but they say other people's names on them. It was the funniest thing. I think we ganked them. We were like, yo, let's take these. And Fee's name was Mad Black, and mine was Dreaded Blunt. And so Fee was Mad Black, which he didn't really look like a Mad Black. And I was Dreaded Blunt, which is funny for a dude who's never smoked a blunt ever. And you go from supposed to be there, right? Because you're in the battle, to the next year you're trying to pretend that you're actually like a performer who's in it, so you can get in, right? Kiss concert backstage back in the Marky Mark days and those kind of things, right? Like we're in there pretending we're supposed to be like one of the groups on stage because we thought we should have been, and we were kind of invited and kind of not, but we did have like sort of access, but we didn't have backstage access. And this one security guard was like trying to throw us out. We're sneaking in, but we're like kind of supposed to be there because we are doing stuff at the station. And, you know, like Fee can tell you those stories. And it's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? One year you're doing a major show in this major venue. The next year, no one knows who you are. And you know what I'm saying? And that's the life of anyone in Boston with college radio. Because like you can have like what we had. You are lifetime here at WERS. If you ever want to come on the airwaves, this is your home forever. And we're in our head going, yo, we've seen enough DJs come and go to know that didn't mean anything, right? And sure enough, 3-4 years go by, no one has any idea who you are, what group you're in, and you have to like remind them and run the resume and play yourself out, you know? So in my dreams, it's always kind of like that too. Like I'm sort of like supposed to be on the Celtics, but I'm like the last guy on the team. And in my mind, I'm like trying to make some plausible way of this. I'm like, maybe I'm the stats guy. I don't really know. Maybe I was in the D League. I'm not really sure, you know? And then I can usually jump 4 feet high too. So that helps. We're kind of dodging the backboard kind of stuff, you know? So that's been interesting. So anyways, I'm pretty sure I was in tears from Marcus Smart and everything that he did. I think, lost your mic. Lost your mic, which is probably good because you're probably insulting me at this point with my craziness. But the green, though, I feel the spring green. I don't know where your mic went, but we lost you somehow. I'll just pretend you're Marcus Smart for a moment, and I'll be like, "Fly, it's so amazing that you're here. Fly, it is so amazing you're here." You know, it's like there he is. Still don't hear you. Might have to get you on the call in or something. I don't know. I was gonna say maybe it's me, but I think it's you. Yeah. Anybody ever had a dream like that? I mean, like truthfully, have you been like supposed to be in there, but someone knows you're not, and you're like in reality you're not? Quite a common occurrence.
Testing 1 2 1 2. I know
we
I'm
hear you now.
All right. All right. I think that happens, and sometimes I know this is what happened. If I get a phone call while I'm on the stream, it just
knocks you out.
Like, like knock my mic off. Yeah.
It's like you're supposed to be on the show, but not really.
You know what I mean? You know, it just comes full circle.
It's like, I'm sure you've been to a show, right? And like you're there for part of the show, but not the whole thing. Like not you kind of have backstage access, but not really. You know, and then other times you're big time in it. You're trying to act like it's totally normal, and then other times you're being kicked out of the event. So it humbles you. Like I was estimating the other day. I was trying to figure out. You know, you might have saw my post where I was really feeling myself, and I was like, I've done more shows than you. I've written more rhymes than you, right? I was gonna do one yesterday. I've taught more classes than you, but I figured I'd chill because some people were taking me seriously. And I was thinking I was like, how many shows have I actually done? And I was like, Fee and I started doing live shows probably in either 86 or 87. Right? 86 or 87. And and by 88, we were we were doing hella shows, but they were all free. I mean, except for a few. And then by 89, we were doing paid shows, including corporate events, doing our first like real shows where we actually were paid to be there. Like we're on the flyer.
Right.
We're on you know what I'm saying? We did a show for Apollo Hewlett Packard in 1989 at the Boston Copley Marriott. They picked us up in a limo and rented us cordless mics and gave us gift certificates to the nicest restaurants in the city. And we thought we had, you know, I think I mentioned this before. We thought we hit the pinnacle.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
But so we started going, just if there was a place that looked like it was supposed to have a show, we brought the show to it. Like we go to a bar and we'd be like, oh, you have a mic? And it was like maybe someone doing folk music or something. We'd be like, oh, cool. Can we rock? You know, we would just assume that we were supposed to, like, because we had a record out now. And by 1989, we were on wax. We literally just thought because we had a record that everyone would say yes. And usually it's funny that it usually worked. Like it was so rare to see someone with a record out, right? And we had articles about us in the paper. We literally carried that stuff like backstage pass. We had the record, we had the article, and we're like, yo, this is us, you know? And we took ourselves really seriously. And even though we knew that we were breaking into a lot of places that we shouldn't have been just to try to force the issue, but I was like, yo, we were doing like probably like at that time, probably like 30 shows a year, you know? And then I was like, by the mid 90s, there were some years there was probably 50 shows pretty much on a regular basis. By the late 90s, we had massive records out and stuff and was like doing shows all the time. And then for me in the 2000s and the mid 2000s,
Yeah.
sometimes it was 100 a year, you know, and it just kept going, kept going. And then it's like a lot of college shows, a lot of performance speaking
Yeah.
/ all that stuff that I still do. And I'm like, it's got to be over 1,000. It's got to be over 1,000 actual shows, you know? And I was like, how many of those shows were paid? It's probably like 15%. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, most of them are definitely gonna be free shows.
Maybe 25 now that I think of. Probably for me, in my case, it's probably about 25, max 30%. But for the first like probably 10 years, it was probably like 5% of those shows were paid. I was
Yeah.
just like, a show, I'll do it, you know?
That's the grind, yeah.
Yeah. And then some of those shows, you know, you'd make money because you're trying to sell stuff. And if you had, in that days, if you had stuff to sell, you could usually sell something. And whether it was a shirt or CD, album, cassette, you know, whatever it was, or get your next show. And, you know, doing it, thinking about it, and like, how many shows are actually done? But because of that, because of willing to do all these crappy shows, and then eventually getting some major shows, you do all things in between, and people don't even know how to treat you. You know what I'm saying? They're like, is this like a big star? Or is this like a local celebrity? Or is this a nobody? And so it's all, sometimes it's a limo, right? Back in the day, it was like I said, we started out with limos, right? Other times it's a cars coming to get you. Other times it's a plane, it's a bus, it's a train, people paying for your room, people not paying for your room, people paying you up front for the show, people paying you after the show, people not giving you what they're supposed to give you after the show, people paying you in other ways, people do all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it's like,
that's wild, man.
yeah, and you build up this sort of, it's like being in the D League. You know what I'm saying? Like being an artist that's not a major artist is like being in the D League or the G League or whatever you want to call it. And so some days that's massive, and you have just about entrance to the league because you're opening for a major artist or you're doing a paid show with a major artist, right? And then other days you're back doing the show with all the scrubs as well. You're just
Right.
and then you might be one of the scrubs because you did awful in one of those shows too, and you're like, what am I doing?
What am I doing? Yeah. Bro. That's the grind, man.
Absolutely. So you gotta love it, you know.
You definitely have to love it, man. I'm like, I've finally came to a point, I guess, in my life. I know you just mentioned it, just kind of like how your dreams just that led to just like the remembrance of, you know, every day and how your life has kind of been down through the years. And man, I think that
like being on the Celtics, you mean?
Yeah, like being on the Celtics. But I think for me, man, it's just kind of like more eye opening as far as it's kind of been pivotal, man. The last few months for me has been. Sometimes I believe there are times in your life where you have like this overwhelming amount of challenges to not necessarily to make you push harder in that arena, but for you to completely do something different.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I feel like I'm approaching that point in my life.
You at the precipice. It sounds like you're saying.
I'm definitely at the precipice, man, of doing something drastic.
It sounds like the acting career. It's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're talking about the acting career.
Bro,
Flat, bow tie fly.
I'm right there, bro. Like I've never been this close in my life to just doing something drastic. And you know what? It's invigorating. The thought, like you said, and just kind of like talking about almost being there, knowing, you know, what your aspirations are, and what you're capable of, and you know, just like you said, just, you know, being playing ball and having a great understanding the analytics perspective of the game. And sometimes you find yourself putting yourself in the game, and I feel like I'm like yeah, it's time to get in the game. For real,
all right.
For real.
All right, so hold that thought, right? Speaking of getting in the game, right? You know I post a lot of the free throw joints, right?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
This morning I did a live on Instagram because I ran out of video. Because I just was letting the thing run, right? And normally I don't have that. I saved as much space as I can. I was deleting as much as I could. I got it up to like 17 minutes, right? And I'm like, I'm just going to let this thing run. So I walk up to the mic and I go, I'm going to shoot as many free throws as I can without missing 2 in a row. And I go, and by the way, I'm going to do it one-handed with my other hand in the pocket. Right. So this is the beginning of that video. Check this out for a second. This should be hilarious. Hold on. Let's see. You can't get this anywhere else. This is quality video. Hold on.
Exclusive.
You get this full sound too. Now I don't know what it is about the hand in the pocket, but it seemed better than behind my back. It seemed real casual. You know?
It's working.
Yeah, I get to the point where sometimes I can go for like 50, you know, like in a row. Other times I go for 2 in a row. You know what I mean? So you never really know what you're gonna get. Then I was like, you know what? It's a lot of pressure to just hit them in a row. I think how long I can go without missing 2 in a row. Right? So this video goes for 17 minutes where I don't miss 2 in a row, one-handed with my hand in the pocket. And so my point is, how can you see? There's the miss. How can you? So this, I think I go on a tirade after this miss. Right? Let's see. How can you be missing free throws in the NBA when you're paid multiple millions of dollars?
Right.
Where I go to granted, I'm not tired from running a game. I know it's different when you're tired, right? But okay, oh no, there's my. So those are almost back-to-back misses, and I was like, yo, let me get on my time. I was like, how can you be an NBA player getting into a game and missing like 5 free throws in the game? I don't understand it. It's like
they don't shoot free throws at all. That's how you know that's a part of the game. That if you missing that many, you're like a 45, 50%.
Yeah, I'm watching.
Free throw shooter, you're not trying.
Yeah, like I'm honestly like a 96% free throw shooter with 2 hands. You know what I'm saying? Like I miss. Probably I'll hit like maybe 20 to 35, then I might hit like 9, I might hit like 15, then I might hit like 27. You know, when you total it up, you've shot 100 free throws and missed like 5. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm like, can not everybody in the NBA do that? Like, it hasn't taken me that long to become very proficient at free throw shooting, you know? And I'm not being paid to do it. I just do it because I like the routine, you know? And I'm like, what are NBA players doing when they're shooting free throws at 70%?
They're
You know
not shooting free throws until they're in the game.
Bro, I am some dude off the street shooting with one hand and my hand in a pocket, and I almost don't miss.
Probably, I mean, just in the last month, bro, you probably shot more free throws than half the game.
Oh yeah, I mean, I do it every morning. You know what I'm saying? It's like I probably do, I don't know, somewhere around maybe 200 to 300 every morning usually. And then I actually shoot around for real, and then I go lift, and then I go home. You know what I'm saying? All to not be fat. You know, but imagine if someone was cutting you a check for an ungodly amount of millions of dollars, dude.
Right?
You'd have to pry me away from the gym.
That was your life. Imagine it's your life.
Absolutely. So this is why I have those kind of dreams, I think, because it's like, I mean, you know, it blurs because you're in the gym so much. You know what I'm saying? It's blurring the lines, and you're watching the Celtics game, and you're like,
right.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of on the team. No, dude, you ain't on the team.
Bro, they got DHs in baseball, man. You definitely free throw shooter.
That's it. That's what they need. I just need to be that guy who comes in off the bench and shoot the technicals. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, you know, I was thinking about like Giannis actually at one point hit 14 out of 15 against the Celtics in one game, and but usually dudes hit like 60%, and I'm like, bro, that dude is a beat. Like the fact he was able to hit 14 out of 15, I give him major props. You know,
unless you know he's working on it.
He's working on it. You know what I'm saying? He's not content with being a 60-something% free throw shooter. He's like, yo, I make 30 million plus a year. I'm gonna hit these free throws because I know Pro Lyric was in the gym hitting 30 straight with one hand. but
Bro,
anyways.
imagine 30 million. That's more money than you would ever need in 1 year. That doesn't include endorsements,
Bro. For real.
You know, he got mad endorsement.
But I say this to people all the time. I'm like, my point with all this stuff, and I know you're an inspirational guy, whatever, and too. I saw Jerry Seasting, who was just a bench role player of the Celtics when I was a kid, right? Shoot 100 straight free throws when I was a kid. Changed my life. I was like, oh, you can just work at anything and you can get good? Like, this dude was just like, he goes, I'll shoot 100 for you. He hit 99 and he stopped. And I started going around asking everybody, like really good basketball players who I had access to. I was like, yo, how many free throws can you hit straight? And they'd be like, I don't know, 8. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, so this guy's the anomaly, right?
Right.
And so I'd be asked, once in a while, you'd find someone who's like, I've hit 25. And I was like, this is weird. Nobody can really hit free throws like that. So probably about 20 years ago, I started just shooting the free throws, but nothing obsessive, compulsive. I'd just go in the gym, people would leave, and I'd sit in there for an extra half hour and shoot free throws, like twice a week, and then I'd go, that would be my thing. I'd go through, and then that's the only time commitment that it really took for me to get up to being about a 90% free throw shooter at that time. Now I'm arguably like north of 95. Probably if I was in an NBA game running at that pace, that would probably drop down to like 80% or something, because you're exhausted. But I'll do that. I'll do a full sprint and come back and shoot 10 free throws and see if I can hit them. And you know what I mean? And it's like, so I'm just trying to, in my head, go, what level of motivation does somebody need when they're being paid multi-millions? I'm paid nothing to go in the gym and just try to be, just because I want to, because I know that it's possible. And it's the same thing with rap, and it's the same thing with anything you do in life. It's just like, you practice it, you get better. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
true.
Unless you have some deficit or something that's totally different. And that's the thing with math, right? Like I say it all the time. I had no ambition to do math other than I didn't want to be stupid. And I'm like, when I was picking a master's degree, really, any of them would do, really, because honestly, just to teach, you need any master's. And I was like, well, I'm not going to get a business one. I'm better at math. Why don't I just go do math? Even though I had a bachelor's in business, I'm like, oh, why don't I do this math thing? I really would wanted to. And you know what? I think I could do it. And I was like, and plus people will think I'm smart. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of sci-fi stuff I liked, a lot of quantum stuff, nanotech, all that kind of stuff. And, my dad was doing engineering at the time. And I was like, you know what? People probably don't think of me as that smart. Why don't I go do math? You know what I mean? And there was not much thought behind it, just of like, I'm only good at a few things, and it's like, let me just abuse myself, and which is what I love doing. I'm like, let me, I get the military mentality, like, let me go run through, do wind sprints, and I like sweating and working, and work me really, really hard. I kind of like it kind of stuff, and but it just begs the question all the time, whether it's hip hop or whether it's sports. It's like, how hard are people willing to work to actually make something happen for themselves, right? And then I understand why in music, you have nothing guaranteed, right? You can work forever, be really, really dope. And unless you have an immense amount of time to commit to it, and you're willing to move, it's very hard to make something happen if you're not from an ideal city, Jackson, right? It's very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can be fly, you know what I'm saying?
And be in the wrong city.
There can be a ceiling for you, because of that city, right? We know that to be true. You in LA, you in New York, obviously you in Atlanta, even, a lot of different things can happen. You in Nashville, Tennessee, and then you can start naming the other cities. Little by little, there's a drop off. You'd be Chicago, you know what I'm saying? Because I name of maybe you'll get down 15 cities. You'd be like Boston, another 5 down. You might be like DC, right? Wherever your list is, whatever. And then those are the big ones. And then you think about all the other Jacksons that there are in the world, right? Where the majority of people actually live, when you really think, when you add those all up, and it's all those people watching a facade, making you believe, again, that all you got to do is get up and just be dope. And it's like, no, you got to go to the gym and shoot one-handed free throws, bro. It's like, just to catch up. Yeah. And my point with the shows, and, I originally posted, I said, I have more rhymes than you. I honestly believe I have more rhymes than any human who's ever lived. I've said that before. I'm dead up serious. I wasn't kidding when I made that post. But then I was like, oh, let me be funny with that. I've done more shows than you. Clearly, I've not done more shows than everybody. But, and I'm just some dude. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, how many people are there out there like that in whatever field they do that feel like they're just some dude or some dudette or whatever, right? Who put in the work just to be nice, and that's motivation enough. And it's like, there's countless people out there like that. You don't hear their stories enough. And instead, what you get is the perception that all you got to do is just put in a medium effort and some miraculous results going to come happen.
The lottery, bro. It's the lottery mentality, bro.
Yep.
The lottery mentality. And most people think that it's that simple, man. But when you really look at the odds, the probabilities, and the statistics, you realize that you're more likely to be just another guy.
Yeah.
Than being that guy. And this is the interesting thing about it. We talk about this often, that being just another guy isn't that bad
Not at
I
all.
mean, you know what
Not
I'm
at all.
saying? It's like I don't know why our aspirations are swing for the fences. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know. I don't know where the mentality comes
Well,
from, man. In
I have these
society,
I have these I have these discussions with Quo.
yeah,
We're on opposite sides of the pendulum on that all the time. I have learned though his perspective, and I get it. Like I do get it, because it does depend where you are in your life. It does depend what goals you have, and if you are like him, he is a unbelievable people person. So much so that I mean, he won't necessarily say this himself, but I'll say it for him, is that he can probably be drained by how much he's willing to do for other people. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
he's a giver. He's like a humanitarian, right? Who's been placed in the place that he is in the world, and he feels it's his duty to sort of uplift and you know what I'm saying, and do a lot of stuff.
absolutely,
And I'm very similar in that, but I'm just a little bit more like, okay, here's what I can do, and here's my plan to do it. And he's like, well, I got to hit this home run because I can't go like this forever. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like I gotta get at least doubles, and I'm like, oh, singles are dope. Like if I occasionally get a double, I'm thrilled. Yo, if I ever hit a home run, I'm like, woo. Whereas someone more like Quo feels absolutely more pressure. I think if he hits a triple, he's like, ah, man, I could have hit a homer. You know what I mean? And I get that. It's just a different perspective, and
yeah,
you gotta find your. It's kind of like endurance and sprinting. It's like
yeah.
I sucked at the 400, and the 400 is the blend of both. And I could not do that. Was like too much. Like 200 for me was like, whoo, this is a grind. Like I don't know how people do
Absolutely.
300-400 here.
Absolutely,
You know what I
bro.
mean? And I'm like, I either need to run distance or I need to stick with the sprint. And by the way, with sprints, you got to be in shape, because by my senior year, I was eating out with my girlfriend all the time. I gained like 20 pounds, and it was like, whoo, why are these sprint times not looking the same as like my junior year?
You're supposed to be getting faster.
I was getting fatter and not faster. You know what I'm saying? What up, Philo the Great? Shout out to
Yeah,
Philo.
bro. It's one of those things, man, where I guess I'm probably in between you two, because
Yeah, I think so.
I think
From what I
that
know.
there's a since we're using, I guess, a baseball analogy.
Always.
I mean, Tony Gwynn hit home runs.
Ooh, Tony Gwynn he went with. What?
Right. Even though he's a phenomenal, his on base percentage.
He was a singles guy too.
3,000, right? He's a singles guy too, and that's kind of like me. I just feel like take what opportunities you have. This is just kind of my thing. Like there are going to be some times where the singles, because I also believe in consistency and what allows me to be consistent. So that's the approach where like I'm just going to take what the pitcher gives me. If there's a certain part on the plate, which playing baseball, you got your sweet spots, and if he puts it right there, then I'm definitely
Yeah.
I'm making that connection. And I guess in the real world, that's opportunity, right? You're gonna get your opportunities to have your big moments. You're gonna have your opportunities where the limo's coming to pick you up.
Right.
You're gonna have those times where it's free shows, but that's the consistency also that I was talking about.
Whoa.
You're always involved.
Sorry.
Always involved, always active, and you're just capitalizing on your opportunities to hit those home runs. And I just believe that it's all available to you. I'm also realistic in a sense that I know that you're not going to always hit a home run. Even if you wanted to, even if you tried your very best, no matter how much you practice playing baseball, you will not hit a home run every time.
I heard a dude like you. I thought it was you, man. I heard this dude rapping. I was like, yo, I got to find out where this dude's from.
Yeah.
I mean, he must be like from Chicago and moved to Jackson. I was like, I was like, yo, this dude had your cadence, your voice, sounded a lot like
That's
you,
wild.
and he was on a placement track, and he was on a track that paid real good money, and I was like, yo, Fly also needs to step up that placement. Yeah. Two a year, bro, is like life changing.
At that rate, I need about 2 of those a year, bro. I'm telling you, man, I'm right on the precipice of that, bro. Just like
likewise.
Me and El just talked about this the other day. That man, I'm really just jumping that river, bro. It's gonna be crazy. This might be crazy year.
Did you hear the one that Jay did for me, Jay Brown? He made me this track on like request. I'll play it for you right now. He made this track on request.
I remember the request. I think I remember parts of it, but I don't think I heard the.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I had 13 hours to do it. And Tommy, quite honestly, heard it. It was one of his calls, right? And he's like, "Yo, if you got something, like, send it. I'll check it out or whatever." And I was like, "All right, I'll just make it." Right again. And I'm like, 12 hours. Yeah, I'll get it done. And I was like, "Yo, Jay, you got something for this? Like, cool. Like, send it now. Like, we'll see what we can send in, right?" But I gave him a brief description of what it would sound like. I actually thought it sounded generally in the right idea. And he was like, "I don't think it's catchy enough, like the beat." He's like, "I don't think it's exactly," he's like, "It's real close," but he's like, "I don't think it's right there." And he's like, "But I like what you did vocally." Now, imagine if there would have been a better vocalist singing the hook. I think it would have sold it more. He didn't say anything about that, though. He was just like, "No, he's like, I like all the vocals." Maybe just saying that to gas me a little bit, but he's like, "Love the rhyme, what you did. Your cadence is amazing, blah, blah, blah." He's like, "It's perfect. It's just not perfect for this brief." And he's like, "So I don't think I'm going to submit it, but it's like right there." So the thing is, Jay is submitting to me a track based on what I texted him in an Instagram chat. You know what I'm saying? And like, and I don't even hear anything except what he sends. And I'm like, "Yo, I think I can make that work." So then I have to interpret that. And I had an hour. I said, "You know what? I don't know if this is going to work," but I had an hour and a half in the morning before I had to go into work. This was back when I was still going to work, right? And which was a couple weeks ago. And I had an hour and a half. And I was like, in an hour and a half, I listened to the track, I wrote a hook, I sang the hook, I wrote a couple 16s, I recorded it, I mixed it, and I sent it to dude before I went to work. So I literally worked on the song an hour and a half, and it was so close. You know what I'm saying?
Amazing,
so it's like, you imagine what you do in a week when you're actually working on this. So this was it, just to show people the trials and tribulations. All right, so let me put this up here and give you the idea. A song I would never make myself, but for placement, I love doing it. I love being the character. You know what I'm saying? So let me show you what it is.
It's funny you said that, man. You heard the new Pusha T project.
Yes.
He's in character, man. He said that was inspired by Pharrell, just teaching him that.
Yep. No, I like that. All right, so here's me in character for the. This song was about I'll play it and then you'll see. Let me know if you hear it right at the jump.
We got them going crazy. We got them going crazy. What we got so amazing. We got them going crazy. We got them going crazy. We got them going crazy. What we got so amazing. We got them going crazy. Feel that beat when we step in the room. Beat to the double O-M, that's boom. Speed the sound, put it down like whom. Beat to the double O-M, that's boom. Feel the beat when we step in the room. Beat to the double O-M, that's boom. Speed the sound, put it down like whom. Beat to the double O-M, that's boom. We got them going crazy. We got them going crazy. What we got so amazing. We got them going crazy. We got them going crazy. We got them going crazy. What we got so amazing. We got them going crazy. Speed the sound, put it down like home. When I'm in the rhythm and I really wanna move. Speed the sound, put it down like home. When I'm in the rhythm and I really wanna move, baby. Speed the sound, put it down like home. When I'm in the rhythm and I really wanna move, baby. Speed the sound, put it down like home. When I'm in the rhythm and I really wanna move, baby. Y'all feel that boom in the music. Beat to the double O-M, we moving. Don't stop, just keep on improving. Mood in the groove, get a view with the movement. Boom bap, you can feel that movement. When the bass line slap, y'all lose it. Hit a clap in the back of the room. It's the proof, it's an actual fact, not a rumor. Beat to the double O-M, that's boom. Y'all really wanna go home this soon. So good rhythm on the track, monsoon rain down like a hurricane, hot like June. What it do, got speed like Lou. Rock when I rock, hip hop that groove. When I'm in the rhythm and I really wanna do, sit back and listen to the track go boom.
That's it.
Bro, that's catchy. I don't know what he talking about.
I thought it was kind of. I mean, I get it. I think I get what he means from. I mean, he gave me more detailed feedback than that, but the song had to be about boom. It was like, it's like an internet provider or something like that, and they like got fast speeds, whatever. And I played it for my son, and he, we were talking about it.
Okay, I could see how it doesn't really. I mean, if it's about ISP and internet connectivity, but how do you make a song?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like they're gonna take 20 seconds here and there, and they might. And so the thing is, when you're doing stuff for sync, there really has to be a lot of switch ups, and I still think Jay's producing it, and maybe he'll check in and listen. I still think he's producing from, I want to make this a good song kind of thing. And you have to totally abandon that. You have to be like, I want this section right here to be where it gets real high at a peak crescendo, and then whoosh, everything drops out. And so he has one point in the song where you feel it near the end, right, where it switches up and everything kicks in. Yeah. But you need those every 4 bars. It's got to be like dun 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 dun.
You mentioned that.
Yep.
I've never heard him make anything like that. So I know.
Yeah, and that's like first crack at it.
That's what I'm saying. But of course, we know how amazingly talented,
insane,
wizard, right?
Insane.
And so it's crazy that he came up with that, off just that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And this is what I mean. And I love Tommy. Tommy's an amazing mentor. He just knows so much, and he's such a good soul. And it's he gets a lot of crap in a lot of the rooms that he's in because he gives away a lot of this information free, and other people are charging for it.
Yeah.
And so he don't have a lot of fans on that side of the house, right? And what I love about him is he knows what I do, I know what he does, and we can tell from a distance of the kind of relationship we'd have if we saw each other more. And he really, really respects, I think, what we all do. He knows what JB can do. He knows obviously what I can do, what Quo can do, even you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so it's he's the kind of dude where it's imagine that you and I are writing raps every day to JB instrumentals, custom order to. Do you know how fun that is? To me, I'm not that dude who was in that track. I'm 5% of that dude or 10% of that dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm writing to the product line, which is kind of cool for me. And I'm doing my best guess too. I'm I think they might like this. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
But anyways, I heard a dude, he sounded just like you yesterday. I was yo, this dude got this brief right here, which had to have been 150 because I know what it was placed in. And I was this dude probably came away with himself $65K. You know what I'm saying? That's a year's salary for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying?
For more than half of America.
Right. And if you got an in-house producer like Jay, who can make stuff as fast as we make the rhymes up, right? And I mix that. I'm not even a real mixer. You know what I'm saying? It's imagine that we were giving that back to Jay to mix or whatever. And by the way, I had his 2-track, and I chopped up the 2-track to make it move even more. I chopped up some of the places that were in it using a 2-track, cut and pasting, to make that stuff work in an hour and a half. So when you look at here, actually look at this right here. This will show people behind the scenes. And by the way, this ain't even on Pro Tools. This is on BandLab, right? So this is what it looks like on the inside. So this is how much I did to this track. And, you have a chance at it working. So when this stuff playing right here, this is me doing all the little, the vocal stuff or whatever. Here's the real track playing right here. And here's me cutting and here's me putting the other track behind it so I can EQ the highs differently, because right. I don't have the liberty of actually doing each instrumental. And then here's me cutting and pasting another section of the instrumental, overlaying it where it's the exciting part where it comes in and you don't even notice it. So when you listen to that, it sounds seamless. You know what I mean? And right. And it's that's not what I do. You know what I'm saying? I'm serviceable, but it's that could have been, EQ to a whole different kind of level.
48 more hours, bro. 48 more
You're right.
hours.
Honestly, 5 more hours, and it would have been, you know what I'm saying?
I'm thinking from the perspective of having the opportunity to resubmit. You know what I'm saying? Send it to him, and he gets the opportunity to say, yeah, it's close, but all right, send it back, and all right, give me one more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's it. Right. And the thing is, I'm not reaching out to everybody out there in the industry. I'm pretty loyal to Tommy. I don't work for Tommy. He doesn't work for me or anything. So I just I submitting his briefs. Once in a while, if somebody has something they ask, I'll, obviously we'll submit stuff or whatever. I'm equal opportunity on that stuff. I'm just saying, as far as just playing around with this stuff, I'm just kind of because I respect what he does, So I'm I'm going to follow his stuff. I like his process. He's one of the most straight up people you ever meet. Very successful dude and understands the grind, and he's about the same big picture stuff. I mean, this dude is his mantra. I know his mantras. I know all this stuff. Everything. He does his gospel Sundays every day on Sunday for. He's real into gospel, so he does his spiritual day on Sundays. Yeah. He runs that room, quote unquote, pun intended, religiously. He does his other rooms very regularly, and this dude he's a grinder. And the dude has done so successful in his life, and it's people wonder why. You know what I mean? It's like, it's
Exactly,
no
man.
magic, yo. It's
Yeah,
just like,
it's not, bro. You do good by people, man. Good's gonna come
yep.
unto you.
And that's the whole thing this industry's predicated on. Be good to people. Don't be a jerky boy, like one of my articles, right? Don't be a jerky boy.
Don't be a jerky boy.
And it's important. Don't be a jerky boy. You know what I mean? It's real important. I showed you that article, right? Don't be a jerky boy. Yeah, it's like,
Giving and
don't.
shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall man given to your bosom. So I mean, it's like I love
Pass the
biblical
fly.
philosophy, man. You know,
Pass the fly.
and so those it's funny to hear people describe scriptures without really knowing the scripture. Like, but there's literature that's handwritten that basically describes exactly what you're talking about, and it just works, man. Biblical principles to me just work. It don't matter who applies them. And I think because it has to be true, then I think sometimes people confuse the spirituality or the people's connection to God, that either he is real or he is not, because of what happens in our world. But if God is to be true, then whatever he says works, has to work for whoever uses it. And just kind of like general rule of thumb. And it's some good people, man, that, like you said, man, that just live by the code and they apply those principles, and it just good things come back to you, man. Like,
Speaking of which, my man Jonah, who you might remember was on our show before, he's a spiritual rapper. He was a pastor. I don't know if you remember him. He was way back. He was on. He just sent me a new track. It's really dope. He said, he's like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "It's 5 minutes long." Right?
Really?
Other than the fact it's 5 minutes long and it has like 4 different hooks in it, I was like, "Yo, you trim that one down. Keep that one as an album version or whatever." But the single version of it, if he's interested, it could be really hot. It's like got a rock pop kind of. In fact, it almost sounds like a placement song in itself, in a good way. You know what I mean? And a lot of times when we think placement songs, we think like cheesy way or whatever. But I think like Jason Derulo is an artist who, to me, sounds like a placement artist. I don't know if you've heard some of his new stuff. He's got the new track out with Kodak. The new track out with Kodak Black. He's got a new track out with Kodak Black. I forget the name of it, but it's a summer joint. It's a straight summer joint. Now, you're not going to love the lyricism of what Kodak Black is saying or whatever, and just the unnecessary cursing just to make yourself cool is like,
I hate that. Isn't that the worst, bro?
Always had a problem with that. I don't care. When I was cursing up a storm and I was 18, I had a problem with it. I'm like, why are you trying to sound so killer and ruin this nice track? Like, it's like if you're at a tea and crumpets party and everyone's sitting around with their pinky up in the air, like you kind of get the vibe in the room, right? Like, okay, right. I know what the vibe is. If you're going to come in with Timbs and hoodies and, blunts or whatever, and you're going to be like, yo, I'm going to rap like that in the middle, it's like you're just doing that for attention because the vibe doesn't fit. And so it's like Jason Derulo has this song. It's all happy. It's wonderful. Kids are going to love it. He made the video to almost be a TikTok video. He took pieces of other people's like TikToks almost and just made a real low budget video. And it works. It's real dope. Right. It's like him kind of casual. And it sounds like a video that kids are going to like, adults are going to like, teenagers are going to like. It's going to be huge, right?
If you say Kodak Black's in it, then I know that messed it all.
But yeah, but he's cursing up a stuff. But his rap is good. But it's like he didn't need to say the curses that he did. And it's like, dude, you're rapping for 12-year-olds. It's like someone needs to take that dude and mentor that dude and pull him aside and be like, there's this other pathway for you. I'm not saying you have to go all fly and be a pastor, right? I'm saying you don't have to go that far. You don't have to be Professor Lyrical and be like, the righteous rapper, professor guy who doesn't curse and blah, 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 Mr. Help. You don't got to do all that. Just don't gratuitously try to make this track something that it didn't ask to be.
Right.
Like, listen to the instrumental. Right. Read the room. Read what the dude was singing about. And the fact that Derulo goes, yo, that's dope. I'll take that. It's like, it makes me question, like, the formulaic approach to... I mean, and what I'm saying is, to his credit, he sounds like he could place this as placement. And then you hear what dudes rapping about. It's like, okay, well, that's off. Like, that's not going to get placed. But maybe it will, because some people will find a home for that too. Like, those songs end up in movies too.
Cutting them out, bro, and I'm sitting in the placement joint. But, sometimes you're in those predicaments where, you don't want to offend people, and everybody done had that courage. It's not like back in the day, in the 90s, where features were revered. Like, it was like, if you were getting on a track with an MC and it wasn't just about to say I did a track with you or because
it had to work.
Really want to use your name. Yeah, it has to work with what I'm doing.
Yep.
And I've heard some of the greatest MCs say, like, to other good MCs, like, no, Big sent the verse back to me and said, no, you can do better.
Right.
You know
Speaking of
what I'm
which,
saying?
did
Like,
you hear new Biggie is out, by the way?
no, I hadn't heard it, bro.
Yeah, man. There's
My
new,
homeboy dropped today, man. Hey, shout out to Mission Music, man. True Talk Tony 4 dropped today. Check that out. I'm telling you, you talking about like inspirational hip hop that just got the feel of hip hop. That I'm talking about, like carrying the vibe
right.
without the excessive profanity and the degrading and all that. Man, it's excellent music, excellent context with everything you love about hip hop and all at the same time, bro. Like he's mastered that. So
Yeah,
check that out from Mission Music, man. He dropped today.
Yeah, definitely. The Notorious B.I.G. joint. I just looked up the name of the track. Notorious B.I.G. would be turning 50 years old on Saturday, May 21st, had his life not been callously taken away from him in 97. With the help of Biggie's family and friends, a massive birthday celebration is underway. Check this out, what New York is doing. With the release of his first single in 17 years.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Featuring Ty Dolla $ign and Nigerian R&B singer Bella Lugo, the track weaves a sample of Biggie's life after death cut, I Love the Dough, into the Afrobeat-inspired affair. Being on a song with Biggie has been a dream of mine since I was... And by the way, it's not very Afrobeat. When you listen to it, it's like, it's very mild, right? But Biggie's vocals sound like they were done on a phone. That's the problem I have with the track. Like, they made it just good enough that you almost don't notice that it's on a phone, but you'll notice it's on a phone. You know, like now I told you to be like, dude, this is a bad quality vocal. That someone was like, yo, what he said was dope, but it sounds like he was rapping it on the phone to someone, and they made it sound as good as they could. You know, ran it through as many filters as they could. It sounds like he was rapping to Puff. And he's like, yo, want to check out this verse?
Yeah.
You know, and that to me is like, but you know, hey, whatever, you know. And anyways, the New York. Did you read about the Empire State Building? That was the thing I was talking about.
I have not read about that portion of it. I know they was talking about doing something big for his 50th birthday.
Yeah.
Kind of alluding to King of New York-ish kind of stuff, but I didn't know what they were doing.
That's it. On Biggie's actual birthday, the Empire State Building in his hometown of New York City will change its lights to red and white, along with a crown spinning in its mast that will illuminate Manhattan in tribute to Biggie's debut multi-platinum album, Ready to Die. The New York celebration continues on June 10th when the Lincoln Center host a free orchestral tribute to Notorious B.I.G. The black tie event will feature music arranged and conducted by Miguel Atwood Ferguson with appearances by the originals and several special guests. Whew.
Bro, imagine they doing Biggie orchestra, Biggie joint. Man, you know how cold that's going to be?
It's crazy. That exact
hip-hop orchestra?
That exact date, I asked my wife, I was like, you know, the opportunity to do a Columbus, Ohio show, an event, right? And it was not paid for, but they were trying to sell it as a vacation. They were like, hey, we want you to come out. There's also a conference. It's also on Quantum. And they were like, we'll pay for the hotel. We'll pay for the flight. We'll pay for you to come out. And I was like, you know, like basically it's like I can't come for free kind of thing. And they're thinking it's like, hey, he's going to love this. It's a great opportunity. We want you to be, if you can do, there'll be even some training for you. You can come to, you know, you take part in all this stuff. And I'm like, let me ask my wife, you know, and I was like, do you think if we could turn this into a vacation in Columbus, Ohio? She was like, Columbus, Ohio?
Like, what are we going to do in Columbus,
it's
Ohio?
Not a, yeah, and then the lady I work with, shout out to her, she's watching, she hits me up. And I was just talking to, obviously, LD about, you know, doing the conference in New Orleans, right? And I got off he's like, you trying to work out the performance for us or whatever's going down for that, right? So he's talking, I'm like, yo, this sounds dope. You know, but again, it's travel. And it's like, yeah, it would be performing and it'd be a dope conference and they're paying for the conference, right? So it's like, yo, that's all dope. I'm like, I can probably do it, but it's the 7th to the 9th. And I'm like, I might not be able to do the 7th. Like, I got to trim down because when something is paid that I'm going to, that's something I have to go to. And then it's another time away. It's another time. And in the summer, my son's not in school. And it's like, you know, my wife's working from home. I got to think of these things, right? So I'm like, I told him and I'm like, but I can probably work it. I'm like, if there's something on the back end, right, like there's a show there or something, or someone will pay for me to do something else or whatever, then 100%. Or if I even have something through my school, let me find out. So sure enough, someone from my school hits me up to perform this song that I've done for this other company and the school. And they're like, yo, they'll pay for us to come out. And I was like, all right, send the information, whatever, you know, and that usually means the school's going to pay for the flights. The conference is paying for us to come if I do the song kind of thing is the gist. And she doesn't even tell me. She's like, and here's the info. And I let it sit there for like a day and I opened it up. I'm like, oh, let me see what this is. it's in Florida, right? So I'm like, yo, that'll work because New Orleans to Florida. And I was talking about,
You already know, bro. You
yeah,
just
exactly. It's a flight away, right? It's flight. And check this
out.
out. It's at Disney World. It's at Disney World.
Oh
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And I'm like, I was opening. My son was there, and I was like, "Hey Henry, what would you think if I went to Disney World for a few days?" And he's like, "With us, right?" And I was like, "No, no, I don't think so." And I'm like, "How would I explain that?" You know what I'm saying? And again, if that's not for a check, it's like all the free extra stuff. You know, it's like we're talking about before. You're almost in the game. It's not. You're not. You don't exactly want me in the game. You want me on the bench.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You want me there.
And I try to explain that to people, and they're like, "Yo, how many shows, whatever, could you do a year?" And I'm like, 20 to 30 when there's no COVID, And I'm like, but I mean, I can make that number 100 if I was willing to go for all the stuff that is below the price. And people don't get that, and it's like there's a reason you do 20 to 30. It's not because there's only 20 to 30 calls, right? Or it's because 20 to
Right.
30 of them make sense. And it's like I don't want to go back to 1994. When you're doing every show in the world that you could possibly do, if it pays $100 or it does whatever, it's like,
right.
yeah. When you're married and have a kid, it's like, and trust me, it's like the energy to do all those. Oh yeah, I would do every one of them. Like, but I just
Absolutely.
can't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's crazy,
dude. I'm trying to
That's
fit it.
crazy.
You know me. I'm trying to fit in as many basketball games as I can officiate, as many umpiring games, anything that's flexible. If I can weave it into my schedule and it's healthy and it's fun, I'm like 3 things I love: basketball,
And it pays.
baseball, and rapping. Right? Like if I can do those, and then teaching is like I love teaching too, but it's like a distant fourth compared to baseball, basketball, and rapping. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, let me work those things out. You know what I'm saying? Make those my schedule in my life. Everything else can take a backseat. I got my family, I got and it all works. But you asking me to go somewhere for $500 and it's 600 miles away, and you're gonna throw in a hotel and all this kind of stuff. It's like, yo, every place throws in a hotel. You know what I'm saying? But and you feel bad because people are so excited. They're like, yo, we can get you a plane and we'll get you a hotel room and food is included. And it's like, and what's the budget? And they're like, well, we can get you like a $500 honorarium. And it's like, this is another one I can't do. So
it's because you big time, bro. I'll take the 5, bro. I'll take the 5, bro.
But you say that, right? But now you got to tell the 6 kids that now you got to tell the Brady Bunch. Right,
know,
the Fly Bunch.
The
daddy's gonna be gone for 2.5 days to go get $500, right? And it may impact your job. And it's like, is $500 really getting it done? It's gonna depend where it is, right? It's gonna if it's going to help your career, that's different, right?
That's complete. That's for me at this point, like because the careers, the stability, for the family holding down the family. I haven't of course I haven't done nearly as many shows as you have, Henry. Bro, I can't hear you, bro. Is it me?
I know I muted it myself because I was talking to Mr. Henry. Yeah, I'm gonna put you to bed, okay? I gotta put Mr. Henry to bed in 2 minutes, so I'll be right there.
Yeah, and I got a date. I got a hot date with Sister Banks too, bro. So
I hear you.
I promised her a date today.
Okay, we'll wrap it up. But yeah, so just to end that note, and then we'll get off. It's just
bro. I hadn't had nearly as many shows. I don't get nearly as many opportunities as you do, but I do turn down shows because of that same reason.
You have to, yeah.
I can't take off work in the middle of the week for $200, man. Just
exactly.
Like as bad as I want to go.
Like I'm doing one this weekend coming up, and and it's like, but it's also connected to a professional development conference as well, where it's like not only am I presenting, performing, doing all that kind of stuff, right? It's connected to what I do at my job as well, and there's a bunch of people that do PD, and it's like hopefully they like what I'm doing, and I could do more for them too in the future. You know what I'm saying? Like one-off kind of event. That makes sense. All right, well, we got to jump. Good luck to the Celtics. We'll hopefully that series will be looking more entertaining by the time we go down.
Golden State, man, is up by probably 15-20 by now.
Man. Let's get to it. Don't tell me. All right, I got to get to it.
I have no idea.
All right, y'all. All right, peace, man.